Alright, what's up everybody? How's the game sound in comparison to my voice? Either one too loud, too soft? Alright, thanks Guardian. So what I'm doing here today, I'm going to play some of my favorite roguelite games. Playing all these on Steam. Some of them I also play on like PS4 and Switch, so some of these aren't my primary account, but should be all good. This is easiest to capture for me on here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch games every time I die. So I'm going to be playing all these on the hardest difficulty I have unlocked. And yeah, see how it goes. This first game's 20XX, which is a Mega Man X style roguelite. This game's really good in co-op. Probably my preferred way to play it. So I'm not the best at just kind of talking with myself, so if you guys have any questions about this game or kind of anything gaming or movies, I'd be glad to discuss. Yeah, this game's definitely a roguelite. It's procedurally generated every time. The bosses are in different order. It's actually some of the best procedural generation of a platformer I've seen. Even though it's kind of pre-constructed little kind of tiles put together. It's not like completely random platforms, but they do really well with it. Oh, I was supposed to not take damage. Whoops. Yeah, those are hard to do. Yeah, if you're just joining in, I'm gonna switch games every death and kind of just see. I'm playing all of them on the hardest difficulty I have unlocked. What game am I going to review next? It's a good question. Not entirely sure. You kind of never know what like shows up in your inbox. You know, it's much easier to review a game when you get it like plenty of time early. If you get a game like on release, it's hard to jump into that pile of everybody else's reviews and try to compete at that point. Might be getting a game called Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, which is like a not a roguelite, a Souls-like game. Might be getting that pretty soon, and if I do, I'll review that. I also just started working on a video, which is kind of like my methodology on how I do reviews, kind of like a guide on how to review a video game, but strictly from kind of my point of view, because I see a lot of things like in the world and values and lists already. It's going to be a lot of work. I just finished the script, but yeah, that's the only thing I'm working on right now, for sure. Everything else is kind of who knows. So every time you beat a boss, you can pick from either their boss weapon here, or a permanent upgrade. So I'm gonna go with more damage. Yeah, it's really hard to read chat while playing a game like this, so I'm gonna try to do my best and maybe stop here and look for a second. Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to the new Tomb Raider. That's like the only bucket list game of the year so far that I still need to play, hopefully before the end of the year. Because I really like the other two. Do I like any sports? I used to play soccer when I was a kid, but then I became a kind of skateboarder kid, skate rat. And I skateboarded for maybe 16, 17 years. So this is where you pick the next boss. You can kind of strategically do it because some get harder than the others the farther you go. I haven't played this in a while, so I don't remember what the ideal order is. But actually that video I was just talking about I'm working on about reviews, I actually have some footage of me skateboarding in it, which is kind of random that you just brought that up. You have to see how it pertains to what I'm talking about at that specific spot. So if you're wondering why I'm not using the shooter all the time, it uses my energy, which is at the top left in the blue. There's also a charge attack that I'm not doing. Yeah, I need to utilize that. So you guys who have played the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, is it pretty good? Not as good as other ones? What do you guys think about that? I actually prefer them over... I really love the Uncharted series, but I prefer these newer Tomb Raiders because they're a little more focused on moment-to-moment gameplay, which is what I'm all about, more so than storytelling. And I like a little more freedom in the Tomb Raider games. In Monster Hunter World, do I think it's cheating that the monsters know what buttons we're pressing? That's a interesting concept. I think all video games with AI are cheating in that regard then. They all know exactly what buttons we're pressing. You kind of you break all of video games that aren't multiplayer when you go down that route though. Kind of things acting like they're allowing you to hit them, even though they should be able to avoid everything you do. In theory, since they know what you're doing, pressing. Kind of suck at fighting that guy. So that's our first death. Moving on to the next game. And depending on how many times or how quickly I die, could go through a lot more games. Who knows? This is only my second time streaming while trying to also look at chat and all this. So I might be playing somewhat poorly, so I apologize. Hopefully as this goes on, I'll get better at it. So Isaac next. Alright, so let's do Eden. Eden's pretty much like a randomized character. I'm gonna play on hard. Will I go to E3? Highly unlikely. Unless somebody helped me get there. I'm still a fairly small YouTuber in the grand scheme of things. Alright, I haven't played this in a while. If I die on the first floor, we're gonna restart again. What roguelites have I played? Just started. I died pretty quickly on 20XX, and this is the second game so far. We'll probably come back around to 20XX later though. Somebody asked, do I have the Lost unlocked? I believe I do, but I don't think I got it. There's two methods to get it. They made it easier in one of the expansions, or booster packs. And I got it the easier way, I'm pretty sure. And my damage is poor. What is my damage? 2? Have I played Enter the Gungeon? Yes, I have. I like it a decent amount. I don't absolutely love it. Definitely good, though. A better co-op game than this is. I spent about half my life in the northern regions of America. Now I live in the southern, so it might be a weird combination of both. Country and southern mix. What a lovely combination, huh? I need keys. Oh man, I forgot to switch controller. I usually play with the PS4 controller. 20XX doesn't really like my PS4 controller too much. So I'm on an Xbox One controller, which is not my preference for this. Actually, remind me after I die to switch to PS4 controller. I'm slightly off with the joysticks on Xbox One. I think the 360 controller is like almost perfect, and then they took a step back with the Xbox One controller. Alright, so we gotta find some keys.
Pheromones.
No keys. Yeah, Misery, I haven't played Isaac in months, so this is not like a perfect, trying to do a perfect run or anything. Asking why I didn't like just restart if my items were bad at the start. I'm just playing. I'm getting hit by a lot of stupid stuff because I recently came off of making that Souls-like video where I played like 20 Souls-like games. And those are much tighter with the hitboxes for the most part. I kind of forgot that looseness in the hitboxes in this game. I'm just getting hit by like little nudges of stuff. I would love to get good danger. If only. Here's a fun fact, if you see Danger in the chat there, he designed the skull logo for my channel. I told him to make a skull that looked kind of like how he made his little frog logo. And I paid him with a copy of Hollow Knight. Am I going to do one of those indie showcases every month? I would like to. It kind of depends on what games I get sent. It's kind of been a slow couple of weeks, actually, getting any games in, or indie games, that is. This is kind of like AAA season, and those are harder to get. I was lucky to get Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is probably definitely the highest prestige game I've ever received early. But yeah, if I have enough games to cover, I'll definitely do an indie showcase. There's going to be a lot of indie games that I haven't gotten to in any capacity on my channel that'll show up in that review video that I'm working on. The how to do a video game review video. Yeah, I have this on Switch as well, and on PS4. Switch, the frame rate's a little fluctuating during bigger bosses on this. Not my preferred way to play. It's nice that you get the booster packs on a PC. Have those made it to consoles, or are they even trying to get those to consoles? There's a pretty cool game the creator of Isaac's working on that I think they're near complete. What's it called? Legend of Bumbo? And I would love to get that early and cover it, but I can't find any means to contact them. But that game's like it's in the Isaac universe. You're playing as a different character, and it's a completely different type of game. It's like a turn-based puzzle battler. And everything looks like it's made out of like cardboard cutouts. Looks cool. I played a little bit of Death's Gauntlet. I didn't really care for it. But if you did enjoy that, I would highly recommend Salt and Sanctuary. Salt and Sanctuary tightens up the gameplay a bit more. And the world's really awesome to explore. And if you think like Dark Souls perfected the like areas layering back onto themselves, just wait till you play that. Yeah, Synthetic I played I think earlier this year. It was alright. That was the one where they're like obsessed with their like reload mechanic or something. There's something about it that kind of bothered me. It's like your guns could jam and you gotta mash a button. And yeah. I have played it. It's a very large floor. And I gotta remember to go back for that white heart. Oh yeah, I have played Enter the Gungeon. If you look back in some of my old videos, I think from a year or two ago, I kind of do a video where I compare The Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon, because they both have their like pros and cons pretty equally.
Range down.
Like, I think the moment-to-moment gameplay in Gungeon's better, but the just sheer randomness and variety, which is why I play roguelites, is far superior in Isaac. Like, this game would probably be my Deserted Island game if I could only pick one. Just because of the sheer variety to it, and never really knowing what to expect, like what stuff you're gonna get, how it's gonna combine. One thing I wish this had from Enter the Gungeon, where you could like warp to different rooms like instantly. Surprised they haven't added that to this. I'm sure there's a mod you can get that does that. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Sekiro. Very much. Probably more than anything. I don't know, it's close with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And then probably third would be Red Dead. Like if I could choose to have one right now, it'd be very close to Sekiro or Smash Brothers.
I can see forever.
Will I review DMC5? I'll definitely be playing it. I actually have I did submit a review code request for it. Which all you can do at that point after that is cross your fingers, hope you get it sent early. But like I said before, if I get a game like on release day, it's much harder to do a review that warrants all the work. And at that point I usually prefer to do something like a combat showcase or tips or, you know, something where I'm not directly competing with people that had the game, you know, two weeks before that. That doesn't mean I never do reviews that are late. I would like to find time to play the first 4 Devil May Cries. Because the only one I've actually like played and beaten was the reboot that nobody liked, but I actually liked it. I probably liked it because I didn't have any attachment to the series. I think people blew the whole like his hair being different out of proportion, because if you actually play the game, like the entire game is kind of the backstory on how he got his hair. His iconic white hair, because it changes over the course of the game, and then by the end he has his iconic hair. So not only did they do it right, they made a lot of the whole like game progression with this character revolve around how he got it. But a lot of people didn't play far enough to realize that. It's one of those things where fandom can actually hinder you. Like with all these Marvel movies, I'm so glad I was not a comic book fan or knew any of this junk beforehand. Because I'm enjoying consuming all this universe they've created now. I'm not like, oh, that's not like the comic, or oh, it's not like the whatever. Strategic ignorance can make things more fun sometimes. Hey, happy console gamer. Thanks, man. Glad to see you here. I kind of was watching Happy Console Gamer start getting into streaming, and that was part of the reason why I decided to kind of do it as well. Because YouTube views have been kind of low for me personally in the last month or so. So just trying something else. I'll always prefer doing like edited videos because that's what I like to watch myself. But you know, this is fun to do, maybe like once a week. Trying to think of a new tagline for the channel, like... Oh, 1 second. Had a phone call. Sorry. Yeah, but what do you think about this new tagline? Like, welcome back to another episode. Thinking about switching. Maybe saying that every video. Oh, I hate this room. I hate the stuff on the ground. My monitor's kind of dark right now. It's hard to discern the black gunk from the normal floor. Yeah, 20XX is really good game. I suggest co-op. Co-op's really good too for it. If my responses are a little delayed, I actually have the YouTube settings on normal latency instead of low latency to try to counter my kind of poor upload quality. That's something I can tinker with. I'm not sure if it's really helping or not. But yeah, if I'm not like getting right back to the comments, I'm either busy playing or it's because of that kind of extended latency a little bit.
Tears up. X-Lax. Balls of steel.
Is 20XX on Switch? That'd be a good place for it if it is. Yeah, Isaac's part luck, part skill. Definitely. You benefit from knowing the items, which I don't really enjoy, so I have the actual external item descriptions turned on. Because I don't feel like I should be penalized for having a poor memory. But, comparing this to Enter the Gungeon or, say, Monolith, which I'm going to play later, that's much more focused on your skill. There's still some randomness and luck, of course, but yeah, skill will get you much farther in those two games. Yeah, the stream is mostly like question-answer based. I'm not the type of person who enjoys just sitting here talking with myself. So yeah, ask some questions, movies, video games, whatever. I'm not going to try to act like a traditional video game streamer. I'm just streaming a video game and kind of having a conversation with you guys. Not trying to be a personality. Just a dude. I feel like this was a little easier to do when I was streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because people had a lot more just natural questions since that was a brand new game. And these are obviously all old games. So it probably made it a little easier on my end and on the questions end. That's probably primarily how I'll use streaming, is when I have a game early and there's no embargo on streaming. I'll probably just open it up to question and answer. That's a good way to cover stuff that you wouldn't normally in like a review or like a tips video or showcase or something. Do I prefer AAA games or indie games? Doesn't really matter to me. I just like good games with good gameplay. Doesn't really matter who it's made by. Some of my favorite games are AAA, some of my favorite games are indies. If it feels good to play, I'm down. Man, this is so dark. It's max gamma. Yeah, Hollow Knight is amazing. Amazing game. Did I find any problems with Spider-Man's combat? Not really. I think it pulled off exactly what it wanted to do quite well, with kind of taking the Arkham template and making it less counter-focused and more like a traditional action game, while still keeping it cinematic, like the Arkham games are. It wasn't perfect and not my like preferred type of combat, but it was. Can't really argue that it wasn't fun, which is exactly what they wanted it to be. It started to get a little repetitious towards the second half of the game, but it was never not fun. Did I have problems with the dodge system? Let me think on that. Nothing's coming to mind at the moment. You know what, not really. I play a lot of games where dodging is very, you know, like prevalent or important. And I actually had on the ability that rewarded you for the perfect dodges with the, like, Bayonetta slow-mo if you do a perfect dodge. And, yeah, I used that for the majority of the game. But I didn't really have much problem with the dodging. I mean, it's always going to be a little loose in those, like, cinematic-y kind of mainstream combat systems. That's to be expected. Like, your character is going to kind of home in with their attacks on the enemies to an extent. The enemies are kind of going to home in to you. But, yeah, I didn't really have a big problem with it. And I was playing on hard the whole time. I did not want to pick that up yet. Dang it.
I can see forever.
What do I think about Thanos? I think Thanos really made that entire movie. He's probably my second favorite villain of all time to the Joker in The Dark Knight. I really like villains in movies more than probably the heroes. Like, he was the most relatable character in that whole movie, and he was the villain. And I really like how you kind of see his point of view. It's like, yeah, well, like, what he did sucks, but he's kind of right in a way. But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite movies of recent memory. Man, my screen is so dark. I think I have my brightness too low on my Windows setting. I swear, on PC it's impossible to get those, like, brightness sliders right when you're playing a game. It's like, you're supposed to be able to see this image and not this image. And I'll do it max to lowest, and like, you can always see the, I don't know. Windows and their brightness settings are odd. I'm gonna try to catch up on comments after this boss, if I don't die. Alright, how did I know there was a hidden wall there? I took a pill that actually, if you looked at the mini-map, it showed there was a hidden wall there. There's kind of like a minesweeper type mechanic to the walls too, where you can kind of discern where the hidden rooms are. What does ludonarrative dissonance mean? I'm fairly kind of sure it's where things that happen, like usually in cutscenes, sync up with the gameplay. Like for example in Uncharted 4, there's a cutscene that's supposed to be really impactful where your brother shoots Drake, and it's like, oh man, he shot him, like is he dead? But like the whole game you've been getting shot and you can survive multiple shots. You know, you've taken hundreds of shots at that time, but that shot specifically was supposed to be the important one. I think that's kind of what that term means, where there's a disconnect like that, where the rules aren't solid. Yeah, I did kind of miss some rooms back there. That's alright. I'm trying to make sure I can get ample time to play everything I wanted to play here today. So I'll probably only be doing this for maybe 2 more hours. Yeah, man, that's a really hard term to kind of define. It's kind of almost undefinable by nature in a way. Kind of similar to, I'm probably going to say it wrong, but in film, there's something called like mise en scène. Yeah, I probably butchered that. But it's kind of a weird term thrown around where it's kind of like the general feeling that the movie portrays, where it's almost kind of unquantifiable why it feels like that. Kind of like takes into account like tone and atmosphere, and there's a bunch of things that kind of all pile to what they call like mise en scène or something. It's kind of cool if you do like ever learn about that, or like take like a film class or something. It is a very tangible concept when you're watching a movie. Like some movies have that like feeling to them, where you're like consumed by the setting they're portraying. Like if you ever watched the film Brazil, it's an old sci-fi movie. That does a really good job at really putting you in the place of that really weird sci-fi future setting. And there's a bunch of tubes everywhere, like everything's pipes and tubes and industrial, and everything's a little odd. It's an awesome movie though. I'm gonna catch up on some comments real quick. Oh, what game did I enjoy playing the most this year? Probably Monster Hunter World, and second to that, probably God of War. I haven't really followed any of the new laws they're going for with loot boxes or all that. That's one of those things where I just don't even dabble in microtransactions or loot boxes, so they're just like a non-consideration for me. Yeah, it sucks when they kind of influence, and I died. when they kind of influence the progression of the game without them. But I've like never paid for a loot box, or I have paid for one traditional like microtransaction skin, and that was a long time ago when I briefly played League of Legends. I'm like, man, this is so free to play, like so generous free to play. I bought a skin for like Malphite or something, just to kind of be like, hey, here's $10. And other than that, I only buy like a traditional expansions to games. Never buy like a gun skin or anything, or unlocks like that. So now I'm gonna move on to Dead Cells, and I'm gonna take a quick 1-minute break and be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I've switched now to my PS4 controller, which I was supposed to do last game. Thanks for reminding me there. Yeah, I'm not playing the best in here because this is really my only second time streaming and trying to half play a game, half watch chat. So that's something I'll just get better at, so don't expect like perfect gameplay here. So this is Dead Cells on PC. I had a pretty far save file towards the end of early access, and I lost my save file when it went to full release, but I had played the PS4 version instead since then, and my PS4 file is much farther than this one, so I don't have hard mode unlocked on this account, because I primarily play on PS4, but I have not played this in a while, so I don't know how well I'll do. Kind of interesting concept to think about with this game, how everybody calls it a Metroidvania. It's kind of like an optional Vania. Because when I got the PS4 version, you know, I'd played quite a bit of this version, and I beat the PS4 version on my second run, and I only had like one of the abilities unlocked, and I was able to, you know, beat the final boss of normal. So it kind of makes you reconsider like the point in unlocking those abilities if they're almost all optional. Alright, this is slowly coming back to me. Just give me a couple minutes. Like, I forgot you have a double jump. This is one of the few like 2D games where I think I prefer the analog stick over the D-pad. Not sure why. What's your best film of all time? Oh, Perfect Blue. Never heard of that. I can't get into anime. I've tried over the years. I can't get into it. I don't really like American cartoons really either. Something about animated I'm just not into that much. You know, I like South Park and some older Family Guy. But yeah, the kind of cartoons and anime that are trying to be serious, even though they're kind of like half goofy, I have a hard time getting into the moment-to-moment dialogue. I think is like, if compared to a regular TV show, just abysmal. So maybe that's the disconnect. The animes I've tried briefly were Death Note, Attack on Titan. I watched Batman Ninja. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting one other thing. That might be it though. Oh, the Castlevania Netflix show, is that anime? I think the only thing that's anime that I've ever liked, and I think because I watched this like so long ago, and it's probably one of my first examples of seeing anime, was just that one section in the first Kill Bill, where ever since then, when everyone talks about anime, I'm like, why do none of them look like that cool? Kind of like, I don't know, super stylized and graphic, and I don't know, I've forever been looking for something like that anime section in Kill Bill. If you have any suggestions that are like that, please let me know. I play tons of JRPG games which have tons of anime cutscenes. Which is ironic that I don't like anime. Because I love JRPGs. Yeah, with anime, the thing I always I'm looking for is like what I feel like it should do well is like ultra violence, and I just haven't really watched one that is what I'm looking for. I don't know. It's like that medium. It's not the best for like storytelling, I feel like, or dialogue is usually lacking, but the action and violence and gore, I think, is what anime can pull off. Awesome if it is done right, but I just haven't found one that's really captivated me. So yeah, what's the most like stylized, hyper-violent anime you can think of? Let me know. Like the Quentin Tarantino style of anime. I apologize if you hear a leaf blower in the background. A ninja scroll? Yeah, I've heard about JoJo. I looked into that as well. I didn't actually watch any, I just watched like either trailers or some clips. Isn't that also like kind of goofy? I just don't like the goofy. I don't like the kind of young adults aimed audience theme of cartoons and anime. I want a fully serious, gory, brooding anime. Like Bloodborne. Bloodborne the anime. That. Oh jeez. Forgot how to heal. Oh, Berserk. I did try Berserk. That's the one I couldn't remember. I did kind of like Berserk, but I only watched the first season because I was watching it with my wife, and I'm also not a big fan, and she wasn't a big fan of the kind of creepy sexualization stuff. Like how it pretty much had a naked lady in it, but they like had no fun parts on her. I don't know, it came across as weird. It was like more awkward to watch than just normal nudity. That weird like middle ground nudity. Where they just like removed her nipples. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not into that kind of stuff. That just kind of comes across as odd to me. See, I think if I'm this picky and I'm not finding what I want, that's why I've kind of come to a agreement that this is just really not for me. That's fine. Not everybody is built to like everything. I'm already really picky on traditional TV shows. I'm much more into movies than TV. Cannot hit this guy. It's teleporting stuff. Alright, see ya, Striker. gonna say, I haven't seen a chest in a while. Alright, boss time. I feel like I should be doing more damage than I'm doing to him with this sword. I don't usually like the whip. Oh, it's a risk if I take it. I need my shield. I'm gonna try the whip. Yeah, this whip's alright. I don't think the damage is gonna cut it here pretty soon though. Well, since I'm kind of lost with this last while of anime talk, I guess I'll bring up something I do know some stuff about. This is the first, change the conversation to Call of Duty for a little bit. This is the first Call of Duty I've actually kind of been excited for since maybe Black Ops 1. And then I was like hard out on the series, kind of around Modern Warfare 3. And yeah, I really like the Battle Royale mode in Black Ops 4. Because I've been wanting that perfect middle ground between Fortnite and PUBG. And I think that is it. It runs really well, controls really well, and that's like the most important thing for me with a shooter. There's actually a preview that Digital Foundry did this morning on the game. And it's probably the best preview coverage, even though they did have assistance from, you know, Treyarch or Activision. It's kind of like a collaboration. It's still one of the best previews I've probably ever seen on any game. Because it goes into those kind of nitty-gritty details that most previews don't. So yeah, after you're done maybe watching me here, if you have any interest at all on if Black Ops 4 is going to be good or not, I would suggest watching Digital Foundry's preview they put out today. I don't know if I'm going to cover it on the channel. I don't feel like Call of Duty really fits too much on my channel. I think even... oh, don't die, don't die. I think even Assassin's Creed was kind of a stretch for my channel because I usually try to focus more on kind of niche games. Not niche games, but not as casual of games. It's the best way I can put it. But I've been enjoying Assassin's Creed as well. Yeah, but I don't know if Call of Duty would fit on my channel really. That might be something I play tons of games that I don't, you know, cover on my channel. I play a little bit of everything. I just like good games, like I said before. And it seems like they're really taking the PC version of this Call of Duty seriously since it's on Battle.net. Which is also kind of the deciding factor of why I'm kind of interested in this one. I really can't get into console shooters anymore. I really prefer mouse and keyboard for shooters. And also usually the 60 frames a second or higher. I would say console shooters have been getting a little better with not being at 30 recently, but you know, it's still not the standard. Yeah, maybe like a live stream for Call of Duty would be the best way to maybe do something on it. I don't know. Because some games are more conducive to making content, in my opinion, like for me personally. And like, you can't even know until you have your hands on the game. Like someone would ask me like, oh, what could you do on this game? It's like, well, I don't know, I have to kind of play and see if I'm, you know, it's open to, you know, making something about it, if it's like tips or a breakdown or... I love deep diving into like systems and stuff. Like my recent Assassin's Creed video where I break down the combat. I like that it had that little extra layer to it that a lot of people don't even realize. And I don't feel like was really covered yet. That's the kind of stuff I like doing. So like Call of Duty, you know, I don't have a Call of Duty channel. I'm not going to be able to compete with the, like, here's every weapon breakdown. That probably already exists. Like, everything will have already existed before I could even touch it. So that really doesn't really leave anything open, so that's why a live stream might be the best solution. Maybe just a live stream or two of that. But I didn't get the game sent to me for free or anything, so it's not like I have to cover it or anything. Could just be something I do on my own. I keep forgetting that The Last of Us had a online component. That was kind of cool. I haven't even thought about that for the sequel. That might be pretty cool. first one was like Uncharted Counter-Strike with multiplayer for Last of Us. I mean, I have all the consoles. I regularly play my PS4 and not as much recently my Xbox, but also my Switch. So I just go where good games are. That's all I care about. I care about good games. I don't care about the plastic they're in. But since I do care a lot about gameplay, PC is often the place where you can get the best gameplay just because of sheer frame rate. And if you don't think frame rate matters in games, and sadly, you're incorrect. Like, I always wanted to take people that don't think frame rate matters, and I've said to multiple people before, man, like, man, if I could sit you down for 30 seconds in front of my monitor and let me do a little demonstration, you know, jump into Overwatch or something, let me just toggle between 30 FPS lock and, you know, 144 FPS lock, and you'll forever realize just your hands on the controller, me toggle between the two, and you will no longer, you know, have that argument online. You just are not aware yet. I don't know, in some ways it's kind of like ignorance is bliss. Maybe it's better off because just to think that's fine, because when I upgraded to 144 hertz of screen, now 60 FPS, it looks slow to me. Like, man, that's a weird concept. Now 60 FPS looks slow. I really hate this level with finding the keys. I'm really bad at it. Yeah, this whip is just not cutting it on damage now. That's what I was afraid of. Oh. Dang. Dead. That was a fun run. I was a little unfocused there, the second half of that. I couldn't even tell you what just happened on that bridge level. I was zoned out. I'm really bad at that level. Alright, next up we're going to play Monolith. And if we have enough time, I'll probably cycle back around and start back on 20XX. I'm going to be back real quick, take a 1 to 1.5 minute break, be right back. Alright, I'm back. So Monolith is a bullet hell style roguelite. This one's probably the most focus dependent out of all 4 of these. Or you can't really zone out in this one, so bear with me. This one is, however, the one that I've been playing in my more recent free time than the others, which I haven't touched in months. One thing that's really nice about this, look how quick you can switch rooms. Even faster if I wasn't playing on a controller. I could just click the spot I want to go to. Really wish Isaac had something like that. Because, like, do you really need to, like, physically walk back through rooms in a game like this where you've already cleared it and there's nothing to really gain by going back through it? Yeah, I'm not sure why the aspect ratio was designed like this. I think because most of those old shoot 'em up games are kind of this aspect ratio. And even though this isn't one of those traditional shoot 'em ups where you're at the bottom of the screen and you're only shooting up, I think they took a lot of inspiration from those, and that's probably why I'm guessing it has this aspect ratio. It doesn't really bother me when playing. I think I might actually lose something if you did make it, 16 by 9. It might be too much real estate to move around. It actually pulls off what it goes for quite nice. I really like this game. There's like a chaotic simplicity to each room. And if you're wondering why, like, sometimes it doesn't quite look like I'm getting hit, even though you think I should, if you can see that green dot on my ship, that's my actual hitbox. So, I can only get hit on that green dot, like that. So since I didn't beat any runs yet, because I'm kind of playing poorly, this is easily the hardest out of all 4 of these, so I don't see me beating this run either. Not until I get better at juggling this whole, like, streaming thing. I got this mic right in front of my face, kind of decent sized mic. Got my phone up on this weird little stilt thing to see chat. Not my normal setup. I actually thought this aspect ratio would be like perfect for the Nintendo Switch, like if you had it like in a weird vertical mode. But I put a screenshot up to the Switch, and it's not quite the right aspect ratio, sadly. Like you could like undock the Switch and like put it on a weird vertical stand, and it was a decent idea, but yeah, not quite the right aspect ratio for the Switch screen. Because if you put it like this on the Switch screen when undocked, I think the game would be too small if it was horizontal. It would be too hard to see the bullets. They're still making content for this game. They have a kind of big expansion coming out. Hopefully soon. I don't think they've set a date. But they've been posting on their Twitter, like, new weapons and bosses and stuff. I do have a review for this up on my channel, pretty old review. At the time, before it had... There's one expansion that's already out, which is what I'm playing on now. And when I reviewed the game, it was just the base game, which I gave a 8.9. But the version you play now, which has that free expansion included, I would up it to a 9 out of 10. I think I actually added that to my review in like the description and comments. Because you can't really play the base game without the added content now, really. I think that was my only criticism, was kind of a lack of variety in the weapons. And I think I even said, like, I'd gladly pay, like, you know, $5 more for some more weapons or something. And then they put out this expansion that was free and pretty much rectified all those complaints. Yeah, speaking of the Vita, wonder if this would be the right aspect ratio for the Vita. You know, in a weird vertical mode. That wouldn't work as well on the Vita. But, like on the Switch, I thought since you can detach the controllers, you could, you know, still have a kind of traditional controller, just have the screen vertical. Where on the Vita, you would have to actually hold it differently, kind of awkwardly. Yeah, the Vita wasn't amazing. It was an awesome piece of technology, just really lacking games. I think I played more like PSP classics and PS1 classics on it than Vita games. Sound Shapes was a really good game on it. The version of Little Big Planet was really good on it. I actually bought a Vita because of Sound Shapes. That was when it was only out on Vita. That's an odd game to be a system seller, but that was a really cool game. Pretty much like a level creator game that you share with people, kind of like Little Big Planet, but every time you put down a platform or an enemy or anything, it also is a music note. So your level is kind of also music. I think there might be an old video on my channel somewhere. I think I left it on there. Or it's me playing my sound shapes level I was pretty proud of. But it's just like all janky and kind of filming the beat off screen. I like the level though. I kind of tried to make a post-apocalyptic style level that kind of told a narrative. I don't really have a musical bone in my body though, and my level is more, you know, style and gameplay focused than whatever nonsense beat happened to come out of it. Yeah, Monster Hunter Freedom 2 was the first one I ever played. Or Freedom Unite in the US. So a lot of people didn't like my old logo. I didn't want to get rid of the skull, because actually I like the skull. Because it's a uniquely made skull. That's not something that's off of Google Images or something that's subject to copyright or anything. But I did kind of update my logo the other day. I don't know if you think it's any better. A little less going on than my other one. And I like it. I don't know if anybody noticed that it had changed. I still don't know what to think about my channel art. I redid my channel banner thing like 2 months ago, and I liked it at the time, but now there's something about it I don't like. It's really hard to make stuff look good on like mobile and PC and iPads, and it's tough. I wish you could just set different like channel banners per what you're viewing it on, rather than all size fits all. Actually, I got rid of my Vita not too long ago because I have the PlayStation TV or whatever that's called, and I would prefer playing like Vita or PSP games on the TV anyways. Actually, it was right around when the Switch came out. I was like, oh man, I never need to boot up a Vita ever again, like in handheld mode. And talk about making the aspect ratio even thinner there. And didn't I start this floor with 9 health? I'm down to 3. Yeah, I did 20XX first. It didn't last very long, didn't do too well. I might be cycling back to that next, actually. Do one last round of that. Because I feel like that got the least screen time out of all these. So I might either do 20XX or like some other random roguelite. Not random, but one I own. Yeah, Killzone Mercenary was pretty cool. I did play that. Cutting it close, surviving this. Did not have enough health. He still had one more phase after that. Danger in an hour and a half. I don't know if I'm going to be on that long. Hit me up if you notice I'm still streaming. Yeah, we could do co-op. Well, I need to get some water here. Would you guys rather see me do a little more 20XX again, since that didn't get a whole lot of love, or I could download real quick, let's say either Downwell or Enter the Gungeon or 20XX? Alright, so I talked about doing 20XX again. So I'm going to do a quick, maybe just like 2 levels worth, if I even last that long. And then I'll jump over to Gungeon, and then that'll probably be it. But I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get some water. 20XX followed by Enter the Gungeon. I'm back. Actually, Wizard of Legend isn't a bad idea either, but yeah, maybe next time. Probably only gonna have time for this and then a tiny bit of Gungeon, maybe. Oh yeah, this is a game I gotta switch to Xbox One controller. Yeah, I'm gonna still play on hard, but if we make it past the second boss, we're probably gonna stop there and switch games, just so I can show off what I said I would. It almost worked. Yeah, out of all the games I've played, this is a pretty cool game, but this one's probably the best co-op game out of all the ones that I've played today. This one works really well co-op, and it has online play, which is actually pretty decent. And I have a review for this game up somewhere on my channel too, in the reviews section. The only Mega Man game I've beaten is Mega Man X, and I'm not a huge fan of Mega Man. But actually I prefer this game over any of the Mega Mans. I like how this game controls better than Mega Man. Or Mega Man X. I think this is available now on PS4. Yeah, the co-op is really good in this. The only slight problem is it's slightly harder in some ways with all the junk flying around the screen when you got another person also shooting and doing stuff. But yeah, it's still really awesome. Alright, so last time we died to this guy, so let's avoid him. Yeah, if you do go back and watch my review for this, it was only like a little over a year ago. But my production quality has been slowly improving since then, so it's kind of rough even just going back a year. Even though I wouldn't say I've actually gotten like any better at reviews. I have like my methodology and my thoughts on games pretty well established, but general production audio quality is my biggest area of improvement, and you can tell if you go back and watch this review, it'll sound even vastly worse than my not perfect, more recent ones. But yeah, my verdict I pass on it is still accurate. Yeah, the random generation, or procedural generation in Chasm kind of really wasn't much of anything, really. There's really just like in-between hallways that were slightly different, which really didn't amount to any different feeling if you played a different run. At the end of levels, I usually pick up the permanent like buffs, stat buffs, instead of the boss's weapon. But this does have that kind of Mega Man thing where the boss weapons are better against different bosses. I just don't really utilize it that much. I probably should. Like here, I can either take the boss's weapon or, you know, max health up. I'll take the weapon this time. See what that is. It's like an ice shot. Yeah, I have a review for Chasm as well. It was fine as it was an okay Metroidvania. Nothing amazing. I didn't do a review for it, but the game Time Spinner is kind of very... it doesn't use procedural generation, but it's very comparable, I think, to Chasm, and they both came out not that far apart. But I prefer Time Spinner a little bit more than Chasm, but still not the best examples of the genre. Like, you know, definitely go play Hollow Knight or Symphony of the Night or something first. Or Guacamelee 2. Alright, what does that do? Guessing that's a seeking missile. Yeah, so I was supposed to stop after that boss. We'll go ahead and stop after this next one. That went by quicker than I thought. Yeah, Hollow Knight may be among maybe the best indie games ever made. Somewhere in the top 10, definitely, I think. And probably the best Metroidvania in the decade, maybe a close second. I really liked Ori and the Blind Forest. Pretty excited for the sequel of that as well. Yeah, Time Spinner, just heads up, it's pretty short. I think I beat it just under 6 hours, and I did a medium amount of everything. I didn't rush through it, I didn't do everything, but you know, a normal gameplay amount. But yeah, a little short. Oh, the Messenger, yeah, I got to the Metroidvania part on the Messenger, and then some reason I got distracted and I kind of put it down. Haven't been back to it since. Like, some reason, as soon as it switched to Metroidvania, I kind of like lost interest for some reason. Rather than if it just started with Metroidvania and I like was expecting that. It was just a weird shifting of gears. But that's one of those games that definitely want to get back to after this holiday season. I need to play that and Shadow the Tomb Raider still. Those are the only lingering games I have so far this year. I'm still working away at Dragon Quest XI. Alright, so I'm gonna enter the Gungeon downloading real quick. It shouldn't take more than a couple minutes. Oh, there's Downwell. Downwell and Dungreed. I was actually considering for this. What am I looking for? Enter the dungeon. There it is. Alright, we'll just play this until that's done. Hopefully that download isn't conflicting with my stream. Did I play with freeform fighting or keep it classic? I kept it the classic battle system. I really don't see why they made the freeform fighting the default. It seems really odd to me. My biggest complaint about Dragon Quest XI is how easy it is to avoid enemies. You know, I'm about 40 hours in, and so far I've been able to, like if I wanted to, avoid almost every encounter. Where at that point I would actually prefer just random battles. Because at least you're still feeling like you're like surviving through areas or dungeons, but in that game you can just like run by everybody. I just don't understand that. Still really enjoying it, I just wish it was a little harder. And you couldn't just, I wish they were more aggressive with how they chased after you. Like the recent like Tales of series games, like they do a pretty good job at, yeah, you can avoid the battles like if you're quick and like if you, depending on the situation, but you can't always avoid the battles. Some of the enemies will just chase you down and pounce you like real easy. So I bet you Gungeon's done. It is. Alright, so that's 20XX. Highly recommended if you like Mega Man, or specifically Mega Man X. And you want something that's a little more random, and you can just kind of jump in and do a run. There's like challenges, daily challenges. There's full co-op, has online play. There's 3 characters. This guy is just melee. This person I was playing is a DLC character I got sent from the developers. And here we have a traditional kind of Mega Man character. But yeah, that's 20XX, pretty cool. Alright, I'm back. Had a phone call. They said there is no ad. Yeah, I don't know how the ad thing works on here. I hit play ad, you know, since I wasn't doing anything. I don't know. I have ad blocker disabled on YouTube at all times, which, you know, shouldn't hinder my ability to play ads, but let's play some Gungeon. I probably won't do this for long, maybe just 20 more minutes. So now you have me curious if that even does anything, because I've been doing that during breaks. So I'm going to test the ad button here, so sorry guys if you have to watch this stupid ad. But let me know if it actually plays an ad right now. So I haven't played this in a while. I have to relearn my buttons. I haven't really played this much since they did the Dungeons and Dragons update. Could really use a better gun by now. So this game's a pretty good co-op game as well. It has one slight flaw with see how the screen scrolls like this, and it tries to like dynamically move the screen somewhat, but when you have two players going on, you can really screw over your buddy with how the screen moves, and they can not see bullets coming from off screen like quite a lot. If you're like really good at sticking right on your partner though, should be fine. Yeah, it's local only. That's what's really cool about 20XX. Because not only does it have local, it has online play, you know, where you don't have to worry about screen scrolling issues or anything like that. forget what my blank button is. Oh, there it is. Hey, big thanks from me. Not me as in me, but username me. Thanks for the stream, dude. You're welcome. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of these roguelike games that have good online co-op, sadly. There's another pretty good one that has online play on PC. It's called, I considered it to play on this. Vagante, I believe it's called. It's very comparable to Spelunky, but it has pretty good online play. The game's brutally hard. I've never made it past the second world. That's probably why I didn't pick to play it. Not a huge fan of one-hit kill mechanics in these games, and that game has plenty. Like the second level's boss is this big rock dude. And he does, like, you know, pretty normal attacks, but he does have this one jumping stomp. You get hit by it, you're insta-dead. Get hit by it once. Run is over. Yeah, pretty brutal. Oh yeah, it's out of early access now. I try to avoid most games until they're done out of early access, to not spoil, you know, that new game smell. You know, if you're playing a game like slowly through it develops, you're kind of missing out on that like excitement of a brand new game a lot. So yeah, I usually just add them to my wish list on Steam and just wait till they're done cooking. Like I have probably 15 games on my wish list right now. Kind of just waiting for them to be done. Now early access games that are multiplayer make a little more sense to me, but only if they're free. I'm not a huge advocate of paying to be a tester. Back in my day, they would pay you to do that. I understand why we have early access now. It's very pro developer, pro publisher, but we kind of needed that in the industry, even though the early access is not pro consumer at all. But yeah, with how expensive games are to make nowadays, and how many big studios, you know, close down even though you think they're pretty successful, I understand why we have it, and why we needed some element that was more pro development. Yeah, I see your chat. I might not be able to immediately respond playing these types of permadeath games. I'll do my best. I'm probably only going to be playing for another 15 minutes or so if anybody has any kind of lingering questions or anything they want to ask. Yeah, I'm probably gonna always keep these very like question answer focused because I don't really enjoy just sitting here like talking to myself playing games. Even though that's what it takes to be like an actual good streamer. That's just not me or who I strive to be. So yeah, I'll probably keep these always question answer, just encourage you to ask stuff. Makes it easier for me and hopefully you. I should have done a better job of looking around for more guns. Yep. That's what I get for not paying attention and looking for some ammo. Yeah, he does kind of look like those enemies from Doom, but I think all of those took it from Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, maybe next time I stream I might pick a less amount of games, or maybe stick to 1 or 2 games. Because for some reason doing this, I feel like I've got to rush. I feel like I got to rush and like almost rush to die to get to the next game for some reason. So I'm having a hard time like concentrating a little bit. So yeah, maybe something to learn from the next time. Maybe keep it to like focus on 1 game or maybe 2. Like, I really enjoyed doing that Assassin's Creed Odyssey stream because I had the game early, and it was really conducive to questions and being able to answer things for people. So yeah, hopefully if I get some more games early like that, definitely stream those if they're not embargoed. No, this isn't being streamed anywhere else. I do have a Twitch, but a Twitch channel, but I don't really have any followers or anything, nor do I really use it. I prefer just like kind of sticking on YouTube. I'm not appealing enough to be a everybody follow me around everywhere kind of person. Just stick to the platform I've been doing since 2006. That's mostly what I care about. I do see the benefit of like being on other things. Like, I didn't really ever use Twitter until recently, till I had a decent amount of people following me there. And that a nice little platform to kind of just throw things, some day-to-day stuff out there that you normally wouldn't, you know, like put anywhere else. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed stream, that was like my first ever YouTube stream, and yeah, I had chat turned off for like the first 30 minutes. Luckily somebody dug into my channel and found my business email for Boomstick Gaming, and they indicated me that the chat was turned off. So there's a, you can find that still on my channel, and I cut out the part where the chat's turned off. I was using the NVIDIA overlay to stream on that one, and people suggested I use OBS, and this is my first time using that, so hopefully this is working a little better than that, quality-wise. Yeah, so after this next boss, I'm probably gonna end the stream there. Seems like a good stopping point for me. I've been doing this for a few hours now, and I'm not conditioned too well for this yet. Like, I don't know how you get better at focus, but I have some like focus issues when these streams go on for a while. I've realized ever since I just started, you know, a week ago. Because I don't usually have trouble focusing in games. Because instead of just focusing on the game, I'm trying to multitask. And it's like when human beings are presented with like too much choice or too much options, kind of like shut down. I think that's what's happening. I'm guessing just doing it more, I'll just get used to it. One thing I like about OBS so far is you can apply filters like to things like your microphone. So I don't know if I have it set up perfectly well, but my mic should be going completely silent when I'm not talking. You know, ideally. Rather than having it kind of having a low, like, hum noise in the background. Has a noise gate on it. Yep. Walked right into that one. Yeah, I've been pretty happy with the amount of viewers. It's nothing crazy, but I like how you can keep up with, you know, people's comments. And since I'm not known for streaming, I think it's a decent start. You know, I think we got up to 40 something at one point. So yeah, do you guys have any like suggestions on maybe if I don't get anything like new games sent to me that, you know, it would be easy to stream, like what games would you suggest you would like to see? Because like I said before, you don't really know what you're gonna receive in your, you know, channel inbox of, you know, if you got that game you requested or not, or some game you never heard of somebody sends you that looks interesting. Yeah, that probably sounds about right. Bad. Killing Floor 2. I've dabbled in that here and there. Haven't played it recently. I think out of the like 20 matches I played, it's always that stupid like doctor boss. Do they have more bosses now? Because when I played, it was like that every single time. I was kind of holding out till they had like a more variety of bosses, till I really jumped into that. On the PC, I don't notice any input lag on it. I've tried it on the PS4 as well, and it felt a little sluggish. But that might have just been frame rate. So yeah, that was a stream, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I'll look into maybe Killing Floor 2, see if it has some more bosses in it now, because that was really the only sticking point for me that I didn't really like about it, is the repetition on the bosses. But I do own that game. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Later.